The second ASEAN plus China ministerial meeting on sports concluded in Hanoi, and of course in Vietnam. There was a lot said when it comes to the world of sports as well. A joint communique was then issued, a joint statement came out as well that acknowledged the establishment of the mechanism for sports cooperation to provide strategic guidance for mutually beneficial exchanges in sports between ASEAN and China, which is in line with the working plan on sports. It also commended the efforts of ASEAN countries and China in implementing projects and activities relating to sports, and of course the development of sports through these areas and partnering country as well. They also congratulated Cambodia and Indonesia for the successful establishment of phase 1 of the ASEAN Sports Zone 2024. Now, this is a monumental occasion because international cooperation has once again been realized when it comes to ASEAN nations plus China, and the region at large now looks forward to sports development as a collective goal, not just an objective which is individual, but a shared objective that would now be taking place after this joint statement was released as well. We of course discussed this and much more. Let's take a look at the top stories as well. Apart from that, we'll be telling you about how sports has suffered tremendously because of India now. The plague of BJP's extremist mindset has now managed to creep up and infect the game that we all love, which is cricket and various sports as well. The handshake saga was just one part of this puzzle, where Indian players and their skipper refused to shake hands with the Pakistan team in the recently concluded Asia Cup. But after that, it spread all the way to the ICC Women's World Cup. Hockey had something different because it wasn't popularized and there was not a lot of money involved in that sport. So that just gives us a two-faced approach, but we've got to discuss this in detail of how sports that is supposed to connect countries together, that is supposed to bring people of the world together, that is followed by millions of people, regardless of their ethnicity, regardless of their country of origin. But unfortunately, one country is hell-bent on politicizing sports as well in the region. And it's not just, I think, limited to the region anymore. The effects of this virus of BJP are now spreading across sports globally. So this is something that we need to keep in check as well. Then we move on and we discuss the ICC T20 World Cup that is all set to take place next year. The teams have now been completed. The latest team to qualify is the UAE after they beat Japan for the last spot. All teams are now confirmed. The tournament is set for next year in February and March, and it's going to be very, very interesting because obviously Pakistan playing all of their matches in Sri Lanka and India joint host of this T20 World Cup, but UAE have got a lot to say because it's not just UAE now. We're also looking forward to teams like Canada, who are going to be returning to ICC tournaments again. Then we look forward to Italy, who are making their debut. So the Italians for the very first time in the world of cricket. T20 cricket has just gotten even more exciting with inclusivity. Then we move on to something very, very peculiar now. A T20 format in Test cricket. T20 Test or Test 20, if you want to call it. Now, a lot of memes have already come up on social media, I understand. But it's just, absolutely absurd now because the future of Test cricket looks to be in a lot of danger. This is a strategic decision that might be implemented in the next couple of days. 6 franchises in this inaugural season. A hybrid format would be revived, but teams would be playing 4 innings now. So each team would be batting twice and bowling twice as you have it in Test cricket, but the number of overs will be 20. So it looks like they're playing 2 T20s in one game. So absolutely absurd for some. Some might call it the new way forward in the world of cricket. Some might even say this is in line with the Olympic spirit, but we've got to discuss it in detail and try to explore what are we looking at as well. To discuss this and much more, of course, you're watching the Scoreboard on Pakistan TV, and joining us now is going to be international sports expert and a sports journalist joining us all the way from Germany, SYED HAIDER. Good afternoon, sir, and welcome to the Scoreboard.
Thank you very much, Amit. It's very nice to have some words with you.
First of all, let's just discuss the ASEAN and China ministerial meeting. I think it's very important to gauge the statement that has come out. So now they're looking forward to collaboration and development in sports as a collective future now. It's a collective goal rather than individualizing this segment as well. How important is this chapter when it comes to the region? And how would you define sports as a great tool of connecting different countries?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very significant movement from the ASEAN the 10 countries, they are united already, and China and Japan, they are going to collaboration with these countries. And it's a very good move for the Southeast Asian countries, because sport is a big tool to get unite and get together all the people and nations, and by which definitely it will be more benefit for all the other countries in Asia also, because China and Japan, they are very most developed countries, and other countries in ASEAN, like Cambodia or Myanmar, they are still in a shape there. They need some aid and grant from the other countries. So I think the China and Japan, if they are going to make some collaboration with these countries, then it will be a great future for the sport in, especially in Asia and all over the world, because the Far East countries, they are always very keen to get connection through their sports, and it will be better also for the other countries like India, Pakistan, or other countries. They can get also some benefits from these countries.
Well, Sir Heather, we often talk about internationally China's model of bringing people out of poverty or the way their economic future has progressed. But I think what we need to discuss over here is that we can take a leaf out of their page in terms of sports development as well. If you look at the past 5 Olympics, and China has been up there on the medals tally, this just tells us the broad perspective of how diverse that investment in sports has been.
Definitely, because China is the champion nation in the sports, and the effects of the China, if it is going to work with the other countries, small countries, then it will be very much development in future in such countries also. And the China, they are not only in the they are developed in the economy or other sectors, but also sports is a big uh, tool in China, and by sport they have got a big importance for all of the world. And now if they will work with the other small countries, then definitely it will be a big move for other countries also.
Well, certainly, but as a collective future, it's very important to realize this. But Sir Heather, I think in the world we've got many examples that have been set of how sports diplomacy has done wonders where all kinds of politics have failed. So, how important is this to see this as a shared objective for ASEAN and China? I mean, even other countries in the region as well would probably think that we can use this as a collective future ahead and bring countries together. How can we use sports as a development?
You can see the model of Europe, that how the Europe they have done. They are Europe. They fought against the countries they have fought, and nowadays by sport they are very united and they are getting the benefit from the sport also. I think the Europe model should be followed by the other countries, like in Asian countries and African countries, that how the Europe has been united through their sports. And sports is always a mean by which you can get only the positive things. You can never get the negative things. So sports is always a big tool. I think Asian countries should follow to China and also the European countries, and how they have got it, and how they are going for the future also.
Well, certainly. Well, now, of course, we come to another very pertinent subject, Sir Heather, which we would like you to, of course, analyze as well now. The Asia Cup gave us a lot of disturbing images when Indian team refused to shake hands with the Pakistani team during the toss, and even then after the match as well, there was no camaraderie that was shown, no sportsman spirit or the ICC code of conduct that was upheld. Now, that wasn't restricted just to the Asia Cup. It went all the way to the Women's World Cup as well. But just a couple of days ago in the Sultan of Johor Hockey Cup tournament, we had a glimmer of hope where the hockey teams, under 21, of course, of both India and Pakistan, shook hands and greeted each other before the match and even after the match. Now, that gave us a perspective that maybe it's not all sports at large, but India just wants to politicize cricket. This effect now would be spreading throughout the world, when any team in the world would probably refuse to take a trophy at the presentation or refuse to shake hands. How would you analyze this?
Absolutely, it's not only contempt of the any country, but also the sport. I think what the Indian team they have done in the Asia Cup final, or in the match against Pakistan, shake hand or to get the trophy from the chairman, Asian Cricket Council, it is really amazing. I have never expected that from any sport team they will do it like that. We have seen nations in the world in other sports that they have the differences among them, but still in the sport field when they come, they don't show their differences. They are positive, and to get, I think it was an occasion for the both nations that to get some positive thinkings and positive response in cricket and other sports. But I am very hopeless that what the India is doing, and it is really unacceptable. If you see the other countries, England, Australia, and New Zealand or South Africa, they have got also differences many times. England and Zimbabwe, they have got differences, but they have never showed in the sport field. It is really unacceptable, and I think the side effects and after effects of this political move by the India in the sports will be very dangerous for the future of the sport, especially in the Asian countries.
Right, certainly. Thank you very much, Syed HAIDER, for joining us on the scoreboard and analysing, of course, this dire subject that we're talking about of how India has been able to politicize sport as well. I think it's just come to a point where it's extremely embarrassing now. And of course, why we say this is, this is something that connects the world at large. This is a game that will be followed by the next generation, and we're entitled to leave it to them in safe hands. But unfortunately, like I said, that BJP Hindutva mindset, ideology and virus seems to be spreading now, and it has also polluted the game that we all love, not just cricket, but many other sports as well. We take a short break, but when we come back, we've got lots more to discuss. Keep watching the scoreboard. Welcome back to the scoreboard. Now, of course, like we're telling you that, this virus of extremism by India is spreading, but certain countries in the world have not taken that lightly. It's not just about Pakistan anymore. The Australians are stepping up to the task and to the challenge ahead as well. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Is on their way, but we've identified one critical weakness.
Now, we know they're not huge fans of the traditional greeting, so we can throw them off before we've even bowled a ball.
That's perfect. We've been working on this one.
I've been working on this one.
Feeling hands, don't we, Kingy?
Absolutely.
We're thinking the popcorn.
Get some salt on it.
What about the shooter? Shooter.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, from popcorn to the shooter, nobody does it better. If you want to look at the kings of troll, then look at the Aussies, because that's a certain way to do it. In fact, I'm wearing yellow as well, so I think that adds to the flavor. But that being said, now joining us on the scoreboard is first-class cricketer and sports expert Kashif Majeed. Good afternoon, Kashif. How are you?
I'm fine, perfectly all right. Thank you.
Well, you saw that video as well. Looks like Aussies are gearing up for that challenge.
I just made Pat Cummins in this video because he certainly knows how to keep quiet the Indian crowd when he's bowling, and most probably he likes that. He likes that. He likes to take those pictures and then put out on social media. He likes to put, a silent to the crowd when he got Virat Kohli, and he enjoys playing cricket against India, and that's why he got the offer of $10 million.
Yeah, which he rejected.
Yes, which he rejected again by those Indian franchises. So most probably he enjoys giving some big blows to against Indians. So this is where I just missed it.
Well, Kashif, you've played cricket and you've played other sports as well. You've also been on the international circuit. How embarrassing has it been? It's not just related to not shaking hands. We've seen even crazier things in the world of cricket. But this is something that defines the game. We always call it a gentleman's game, the spirit of cricket, the ICC code of conduct. But, from not shaking hands to not wanting to receive a trophy, all the way to spreading it to other formats as well, especially in the Women's World Cup. How do you see this extremist ideology now going towards cricket?
That extremist ideology, just going through different stats, over my phone, and just found out why Mohammad Shami is not in the team. He has taken 24 wickets in the recently over the last World Cup at the cost of around 10 runs per wicket, and he's still not part of the Indian plans. And Harshit Rana in place of Mohammad Shami, I think that's a joke, and that joke is done by Gautam Gambhir, and Gautam Gambhir was the part of that party who's leading, ruling or leading the Indian government right now. So most probably this is how they are doing. In fact, I at times feel pity for those players who've been, who have to do this. I'm just looking for Virat Kohli, how he respond to this situation, because he was a thorough gentleman throughout his game. And I still remember those giving bats as a souvenirs to Mohammad Amir and all those things happening in his life. I just waiting for him how he and Rohit Sharma responds to this situation, and most probably that is not far away.
Well, even in the most critical of times, when things have not been pretty much okay, he's been very vocal about Babar Azam as well. So Virat Kohli has never, probably backed down from speaking about what's right. And I agree with you. But, over the past couple of days, I have been a bit confused now that when it comes to junior under-21 hockey, those players were fine shaking hands even before the match, even after the game, which ended in a 3-all draw. That just gave me probably an idea of maybe because they realize cricket has a lot of money involved to it, so they can probably use it as a face saving and not use hockey as a face saving.
Or most probably the marketing stint. So create a rivalry and get attracted by a lot of commercials and the advertisement. Most probably that is the way forward for them. So they wanted to create sort of a fire in a match or something that, and most probably get a lot of financial revenue coming out of it, because we've seen India always saying that we won't come to Pakistan to play cricket, but simultaneously they are here for the kabaddi, they are here for the table tennis, they are here for the tennis, badminton, in every sports other than cricket. Most probably because the media, it's all media gimmick, and most probably they wanted to create a rivalry, and that is why in every ICC event there bound to be 2 to 3 matches happening of Pakistan and India, and they're bound to be in the same group if there is a situation of 2 groups, and most probably they are getting financial advantage out of it, and that has nothing to do with rivalry most probably. And but yes,
I think we don't even need to do anything. The Aussies are doing it for us.
Oh yes, and Aussies love to do that because they always they are the side. We always fancy the word sledging came from the Dennis Lilly to the Thomo to the Chappers to the Waws and all those guys. They know how to play this gentleman's game cricket in a different way.
You're mentioning some of the legends, but I would be surprised if I once again have to tell you that it's not just related to some of the senior campaigners. We remember the first game, the debut of Sam Constas, and even he was trolling India. So, I mean, that's universal for Aussies at the moment.
Most probably they enjoy playing India now, because since India think themselves of a big team, because they have got economic power going with them, because they've owned a number of franchises around the globe. So they start pouring in the money, but eventually the quality of players are just not there. The money versus the quality of the Australian players, it's always the Australian players, because they won that World Cup, the final, in their own backyard, and most probably they know how to silence the Indian crowds. One important aspect when we talk about Australians, it's always the psychological edge they get over the team visiting their shores, or they are going to play against some team. So most probably I wish they could have done with this, in their, this promo. But most probably,
well, it's not this anymore. It's this now. It's
okay.
this now.
So it's this now. So most probably they could have done this too. But this is that psychological edge, because now they have got an entire Indian team burning.
Well, I think it's been a difficult 48 hours. First, Donald Trump does it, then the Aussies do it. God knows who does it after this.
Nice.
But, it's just been an absolute nightmare for India's cricket at the moment. But that being said, I think we've got to come to a very important subject now. The T20 World Cup. The lineup has now been completed. All teams have qualified. UAE, the latest team to qualify. I know gentlemen sitting across the room on the sofa is going to be very happy, but the fact is that the UAE are coming to the World Cup.
Oh, yeah, but I'm slightly, upset because I wanted Ross Taylor to be part of the World Cup again through Bermuda. So he was playing the Samoa. So he was playing for the Samoa, coming out of the retirement and playing for the Samoa, because where he belongs to the origin of Ross Taylor. But unfortunately, they just couldn't qualify. And yes, Rory Burns can play from the Italy, and he can can be one player, again an Aussie playing from the Italy, most probably he's coming with those videos too when Italy faced India is most probably in this World Cup. But yes, T20 World Cup, another exciting event, and this time around with number of teams added to this event, most probably the number of upsets can be.
Well, absolutely. Let's take a look at the number of teams that have qualified, so it gives us an idea of number of upsets that can happen as well. So there you have it, the teams qualified for the T20 World Cup, and of course traditional teams already in there. But the team that surprises me the most is not just Namibia or Italy in there as well. I would really tell you this, and I'm saying this with complete authority, don't be surprised if Zimbabwe pull out something out of the bag. Yes, Kashif.
Oh yes, Zimbabwe is playing a very good cricket, and most probably Pakistan has to face Zimbabwe if the Pakistan has to face Zimbabwe. Oh yes, we'll be facing the Sikandar Raza, and the Sikandar Raza is very dangerous customer. And Zimbabwe, you know, last time in Australia has that edge over Pakistan. They beat Pakistan in the Australia's World Cup, T20 World Cup. Another aspect of this T20 World Cup is most probably the team USA, because number of players have been qualified to play for USA, and these number of players who have qualified to play for USA have played under 19 World Cups for either India or for Pakistan. So they are established players, they are international texture, and most probably once they got the opportunity to represent USA, they can be a dangerous side. And this is where the USA, the Canadas and the Omans, the all team can become a slightly dangerous teams, because they have got the quality of those players who have been part of the test playing nations quite a few years ago. So yes, and when it comes to T20, anything happens in a spur of a moment. So the number of upsets uploaded.
Well, I wonder if Usman Khan is thinking I should have stayed in UAE. You never know that. But it's not just the T20 World Cup now. Now we're talking about Test 20 or 20 Test, if you want to call it. A lot of names going on already on digital media with a lot of memes coming up. Even I saw one where we had white trousers and a colored shirt. And that's how we were defining a new format now being introduced into the world of cricket. Each team having 2 innings, so 4 innings total of 20 overs each. Absurd to some, but might be a new way of cricket forward. Kashif, MAJEED, 6 franchises in the inaugural season. What do you think of this? 20 overs 4 times in one match?
I remember Lara and Sachin in a program came out with the suggestion that since one-day cricket is becoming too boring now, so why not divide this 50 overs in the 225 overs format? And most probably their thoughts have been prevailed in someone's mind, and now they are coming up with this one-day format. Basically, it will be a match of 1 day, and 1 day divided into 4 innings. So me and you are quite used to playing this format, because ultimately playing one T20 match in a ground and then going to other ground and play another T20 match. So most probably this kind of a stuff, but just between the two sides. And saying this at test match, it's not a test match, because ultimately those seam movement, those slips, and those roughs made for Sajid Ali and Oman, they should not have been there, because ultimately everybody wanted to see those 6s and 4s flowing. So most probably T20 match playing together.
It's a good moment for Noman Ali to think about his career once again. If he's enjoying taking 10 wickets in one innings, God knows what he can do in 4 innings of 20 overs each. But let's take a look at this interesting video where the announcement came of this new format.
When I was a boy in Pretoria, I did a ball against a wall for hours, hoping someone would notice. Back then, there was no global stage for young cricketers. Today, that changes. The Junior Test 20 Championship is here, the world's biggest youth scouting platform for 13 to 19-year-olds. A brand new format, a brand new tournament. And whether you're a young player chasing your dream or a parent watching this is your moment to step into history. Be part of the first ever Test 20 global franchises, multicultural youth teams, competing in cricket's boldest reinvention. So register, come to the trials and show us what you've got. I'm genuinely excited to see your applications. Don't let this moment slip away. I'll see you in the nets.
Hashtag the 4th format. It's as simple as that, but nobody else to announce it than ABD, and the guy was already playing T20 cricket in Test a while ago. I mean, ages ago he was doing that. So I think a good selection for an announcement. Probably Chris Gale, Shahid Afridi would have done the same.
They could have, but most probably Mohammad Asif would have disagree with this because he has AB de Villiers. But again, AB de Villiers is one of those brand ambassadors who have played every format to its best, and most probably a player who has average of 50 in all three formats. Yes, T20 average drop in the later career, but very important thing when he talks about the multicultural or multi-dimensional players getting together from the age of 13 to 19. This can be a good omen as well as bad, because this age describes a player's future ambitions. If these players get into this format, it will be a goodbye to the genuine test cricket. Players from the 13 to 19, they get the taste, they get the taste of exposure, they get the taste of financial rewards, they get the taste of media. So most probably they won't be going back to their traditional wides to play test cricket.
It's interesting you mentioned test cricket. I believe that the one-day format might be in jeopardy at the moment. I think the one-day might suffer because of this. But thank you very much, Kashif, for joining us. Now, of course, all formats combined, it's going to be a real game changer once again when we talk about the fourth format. But we're going to be discussing this and much more. Of course, talking to someone who has played a bit of cricket in the UAE. Was it successful or not? We'll have him tell you the story right after a short break. Stay tuned to the scoreboard. Welcome back to the scoreboard. Now joining us in studios is a sports expert and fellow anchor SYED Mohammad OWAIS. Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Congratulations to you. UAE have qualified for the T20 World Cup.
Yeah, I'm happy for them at last, because we need to appreciate them, because if I remember even the Tri-Nation series, they literally played out. They really played outclassed. One of the matches, they were very close to win against Pakistan, but happy to see, because I have been a part of the non-test nations, and I've been speaking to you on the other platform, that I remember Porterfield when he was the captain of the Ireland team, and he used to complain one thing, that consistently in the qualifiers we have been consistently performing well. Why don't we get a permanent spot in the T20? So it's good that the ICC is actually looking after the teams like Italy. You're looking after Nepal. Nepal has been a phenomenal side. So that shows that expanding that cricket to. But one thing would be interesting to watch on that, how the groups go on, because will it be a qualifiers for the main groups, or how the things just work on?
Well, it's interesting because UAE, like you mentioned, have played quality cricket. They beat Bangladesh in a series as well, which was surprising. So this now becomes a very, very competitive moment for them. What do they have to do now to face bigger teams in this competition?
The issue is that, obviously they play a lot of cricket. They play against non-test nations regular basis. I would say recently, they were playing against Nepal. Nepal won the match against them. There were some issues even with the squad going on, like we used to discuss even the Asia Cup. Asif Khan was not the part of the UAE team now. Rohan Mustafa has been dropped off. You had one of the good fast bowlers called Zahoor, who was one of the leading fast bowlers for them. He has been struggling through injuries. So there has many things going on. But one thing about this specifically non-test nations, I would say many of the people think that it's very easy to represent them. No, same like USA, because many of the players who basically drop off from the national teams of Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh specifically, I would say, they go and represent the non-test nations. It's not easy to represent them. When you talk about teams like UAE, obviously we have seen a lot of them playing, because the T10 cricket over there actually made them more groomed themselves. Even the T20, the IL T20, I would say, that actually laid a platform for them so they can go to different places and get themselves more experience in the T20. But when you talk about teams like Nepal, Oman has been a phenomenal side. It was the first time they represented in the Asia Cup. In the World T20s, they have been a brilliant side, and the quality bowlers they have. But happy to see Italy, coming up over here, because never ever, even you have been traveling, or even I've traveled with the many teams, I've never heard about Europe being so interested in cricket. You have got Germany team, you have got France team. I remember they play these 6 division qualifiers. So it's a good sign. Rory Burns coming up as a captain for Australia, leading them. It will be interesting to watch.
I don't know why as Pakistanis we're so much worried about Italy. The Italians first time ever in T20 cricket, or are we worried about any team that is making a debut?
If you remember, on a lighter note, Australia were dead in the World Cup, if you remember, and we were the ones who made them wake up to Hawaii World Cup. So the performance what we showed against USA, Pakistan 1 minute up, 1 minute down. Obviously, it's T20 is a cricket where you can't you need to play on the best day, I would say. I mean, Italy, I know they're a new team, obviously. On a lighter note, everyone says that Pakistan might outclass, but I mean, they're a senior team. Pakistan, obviously, that's a pressure. But on a T20 day, I mean, I'm telling you, anything can be over, because the USA, remember the way they won that match against us, or even the back-to-back matches, what they won. I know there has been concerns in the USA cricket department right now, but still, I hope they would sort it out. But
well, your favorite team, the Netherlands, is also there. So I'm a bit interested for them, because they've been playing quality cricket.
If you remember that word we have done for you, guys need to do it first. It's interesting to watch on. But like I told, I mean, the quality of cricket that they have been investing in, specifically UAE or even Nepal, I would say, it's a lot. It's a good platform for them. And I hope, not for us, but for big teams, I would say there should be something. I mean, a shock is kind of a thing.
A bit off topic, but we're hearing Babar Azam coming back in T20 cricket. So I'm just going to say T20 is getting more exciting. But Test 20, Syed Mohammad Awais, the fourth format, it's being called now, a new format being introduced.
I would say one word, rest in peace, I mean, for cricket. Seriously, Bio, because when you talk about the injection what you put on the youngsters specifically, where we always have been talking about the domestic structure, the under 19 or the under 16, under 17s, get them to play two-day cricket. I mean, so they would know how to actually get the other team to, under pressure, get the whole out kind of stuff. They would learn to play long format. But you're killing that. I mean, that's the, on the other hand, if you just think about that, that's the point where you're basically trying the young generation to just change their mindset. I mean, get themselves into that kind of a format, so that they don't more focus on the Test cricket. But I was just going through that. Like you can use around 4 or 5 bowlers in this match. I mean, the power play stuff is a little bit different. I guess 75 if the team does not score, so you can't go for the follow-on. So many things coming up. But I personally feel so that this would be just a one-time stunt. I mean, in the league cricket, I mean, you can't get it onto the Test cricket, because the thing what we used to have, I mean, the fun, like slip cordon areas, I mean, red ball cricket, I mean, getting that Australia versus England, I mean,
and
Ashes.
they're calling it the fourth format now. So, I mean, were 3 so successful that they had to move to the fourth? Or is it just a marketing strategy to keep Jay Shah alive?
It's a marketing strategy again. Like I was even discussing with you off air, because if you just go through now, you know, there was a 60 max, I guess, it was in Canada, which was being played in a small stadium box cricket, I would say. So it's just a marketing stunt to keep one of the tournaments alive. I mean, because if you go through this, I was just going through the breakdown of it. I don't think so that it would be much appreciated, or much, I would say, into the modern day cricket, because yeah, I know that Test cricket, obviously it's a class. I mean, it's not easy to represent to be a Test cricketer. One day was the real problem, because people used to now question that what's the future of one day cricket. And there was a breakdown of one day cricket that it could be 25, 25, 25, 25. But even it did not work. So, I mean, I don't think so that it's just a marketing stunt, and it would be just limited to, I would say.
What bothers me the most is that now we were getting good at Test cricket, and now they bring in a fourth format. So we were now getting good in Test cricket. We would have hoped, but like I said, probably Noman Ali is going to have a second chance in his career.
I mean, this would actually have the players who are more 40 plus. I mean, they can come back on the party. But Pakistan, obviously, when you play the Test Championship, you would love to have winning the matches in your home conditions, I know. And the other hand, if you speak about the spin bowling option, what we have been doing with the wickets, it's not a longer, I would say, strategy. It's a shorter format, shorter strategies, because you're killing the fast bowling out over here. But obviously, you want to be into the Test Championship top cycle, I would say. But we need to realize one thing. If we want to compete for the final Test Championship, this is not the strategy which is going to work on. I mean, I know Shaheen was back into the form. I mean, you saw reverse swing, but this kind of dead wickets obviously tests a fast bowler physique. So it's not going to be easy. That's the problem. That's the point when I said it could have been better, that because what I've seen, I've worked with Azhar, what I know him that he would go for more batting, like batting safe side. So it could have been better that you could have got Amir Jamal into the squad, so at least you could have got that option of all-rounder. I mean, with the ball, with the bat. Shaheen in this kind of dead tracks, for me, it's a no use.
Absolutely. But thank you very much, Awais, for joining us on the scoreboard. Syed Mohammad Awais has called it probably the death of cricket as we know it, the fourth format. But it's interesting. Only time will tell how it is accepted or how it is rejected by cricketing communities all around the world. But the fourth format seems to be a talk of the town at the moment. When it takes place practically, only then we will know how much popular it gets and whether the sides around the world tend to follow the fourth format or not. That's all we have time for. From me and my entire team, it's goodbye for now.